TED-Style talk, which are concise personal talks that take us on a journey. Today we're fortunate to have Iqbal Asaria, who's a trustee of SICM, who will be talking to us about the Islamicate world. Salawat.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. I want to just start an idea which has been there but hasn't been articulated quite well. And this is the notion of the Islamicate world. Now, we have heard about the Muslim world, we have heard about the Islamic world. The Islamicate world is quite a different idea. And it stems from the fact that if you look at the majority of the Muslim peoples at one point in time, you will see that when Islam spread to those areas, it did not only change the people into Muslims, almost all of them adopted the Arabic script for their language. So you look at Turkish, you look at Persian, you look at Urdu, you look at Malay, you look at Swahili, and you look at Hausa in Nigeria. All of them were written in the Arabic script. Now, you may think that this is a small issue of no consequence. Why should so many different cultures change their script into Arabic? And what does the Arabic script do to their culture in turn? So we are familiar with, of course, things like Urdu and Persian, not very much with Turkish. Maybe we are familiar, some of us, little bit with Swahili, but not with Hausa. You can see that across those cultures, this transformation allowed for those cultures to retain their own identity, but also become intensely Muslim. So it's very much like the English-speaking world today. If you start to adapt the Latin script and speak English, there are certain cultural things which will automatically transmit to you. In this way, the Islamicate culture, from the Malay, Indonesian side, right up to Nigeria, had a unique identity where their own culture was accommodated. And we will see very shortly what that means. The only place where the script was not changed was by the Muslims in China. There were a large number of Muslims in China, even today there are large, but they continue to use their script. And this has been one of the difficult issues for scholars to explain, that why did the Chinese not change their script? Or what made them so unique? That is a subject for some other time, right? We want to just concentrate on this. Now you could see that this was not something which was not realized by the enemies of Islam as well. The first thing which they tried to do was to persuade or force or get Muslims to change their script. So as we know, Kemal Atatürk, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, was the first one to change the Turkish script into the Latin script, which means Turks lost connection with their history. And as you may know, the Turkish script carried through to Central Asia and up to the borders of China. So that whole thing was gone. Raza Shah actively considered changing the Persian script into Latin script because he was persuaded that that was the only way to become modern. You know, Kemal Atatürk and Raza Shah were thinking that if you start wearing suits and ties and change your script, you will suddenly become like Europeans. And Atatürk more or less succeeded, but Raza Shah could not succeed before he was out. In colonial places like Malaysia, Indonesia, Nigeria, even East Africa, the colonial powers started to change the script to Latin script and change the whole emphasis. Now, if you want to see the power of this Arabic script or Arabic-based culture, you can see, for example, the Hindi which is used in Bollywood movies. It's clearly not Hindi. It's Urdu. You would not have mention of things like Khuda and Akhirat and all these kinds of things in Hindi. The Hindi has got a different culture altogether. So 90% of Indians are being bombarded with what is technically a Muslim culture. Or, for example, when President Nyerere wanted to change Swahili into a non-Muslim language, he started to work on that so that it could become a secular language. Because Swahili is embedded with terms which are impossible to change. For example, if you want to refer to your first finger in Swahili, the only thing you can say is Kidole ya Shahada. Now, Kidole ya Shahada is so Muslim that it's impossible to change it to something else, yeah? There's no other way to say first finger in Swahili, and there's so many terms like that in Swahili. So we could accommodate a Swahili culture within the Arabic script. We could accommodate Hausa culture, Persian culture, Urdu culture, Malay culture. And when you disturb that pattern, you destroy the whole Islamicate ethos. Now, that's from this side. From our side also, we have attempts now to destroy that ethos, right? So, for example, you have seen probably in the last 5 years, maybe 10 years, but more in the last 5 years, this completely nonsensical innovation of saying Allah Hafiz in Urdu. Okay? 1400 years, we have been saying Khuda Hafiz. You look at culture, poetry, religious literature, there is never any mention of Allah Hafiz. So, why did these people think of bringing Allah Hafiz? And this is the point. They said the word Khuda is Persian, and therefore we cannot use it. If we use Khuda, we are actually using a Persian word. 1400 years, we could accommodate that. Everybody understands what Khuda means, the equivalence of Khuda with Allah. So this is a purist trend on the other side. That same trend goes to saying we should dress like what those people used to dress, and we should do this and we should do that. That means that the plurality of the Islamicate world slowly shrinks. You want to destroy that adaptation of local culture to a global trend. But whilst the Islamicate world was lasting, you had one of the most powerful cohesive powers, which kept people to maintain their own cultures, but also at the heart preserve a unity of purpose and language, and actually what we call meta-culture, in the sense that you would share the same kind of values within your own context. And this, my brothers and sisters, is the main thing. Turks are thinking of going back to the Arabic script. The Malays, Indonesians, gone too far down the road, I don't know. The Nigerians in Hausa, Swahili, so it's a big challenge. Persian and Urdu, of course, have been preserved, so they will continue. But something to reflect about, that what did this Islamicate culture contribute to the progress of Islam? Assalamu alaikum.
Salawat.